Hello hardcoders, here today I'm going to show you how are you going to hide or unhide elements in HTML using JavaScript or jQuery.
Live life golden, yeah, we're golden, baby girl, we're golden. They're about to see us shine, 'cause we're golden.
Since this is our first time, I want you to follow my direction, my work. So let's say for example your project is on your desktop. I'm gonna rename it, let's say my web. Okay, so second thing to do is you have to create two folders for your JavaScript and CSS. Okay, so JS and of course our CSS, and then if you don't have a file for the CSS, I'll be putting some link down below so that you have your own copy. So as much as possible we are doing this, our project is offline ready, so that you will not rely on your network. Because I have here in my existing projects, I have already files for that. This is for my CSS. I'm just gonna take the bootstrap.min CSS and then theme min.css. Okay, so I'm gonna paste this one on the CSS folder, and also for the JavaScript I'm gonna take bootstrap.min and what else, Jquery.min.js. Okay, so I'm gonna paste this one in my JavaScript folder. Okay, so there you go, we already have CSS and JS folder to your project. Okay, now we are going to use the subline for our web development. Okay, so don't mind my tabs, I'm gonna close all of this, close new window. Okay, so I'm gonna close this one. No, alright. So first thing to do with the sublime text is you have to create first the index. We need to create new file for this one. So to create new file, you have to tap Control and then N simultaneously, so that there will be new. Or if you don't want to have a shortcut, you can actually click the file and then new file, Control N. So we will need at least 3 tabs. This is for the index, this is for the CSS, and this is for the JavaScript. Okay, so the trick for this one, the trick for the JavaScript, the trick for web development is you have to save your file first to its desired file format. Okay, so for example this one, this is for HTML, this is for CSS, and this is for JavaScript. So in order the shortcuts to work here in our sublime, you have to save the file first according to its format. Okay, so first for this one, let's name it, just tap the Control plus S for saving, and then we will look for our folder that was my web. Okay, here inside your web folder or your project folder, outside these 2 folders, here we have outside this folder, here we have to save our index.html. Okay, so save. So okay, so it's been saved already, and it's been the format is HTML. So this, if you have already saved your work, and then in its accord in its, let's see, in its um, format, you can now use the shortcuts, okay, just like this one. So if I only type HT and then control space, it will automatically um, populate the default code for that. Okay, so my web, my title, my web. Of course, also for the CSS, we have to save this one, and don't forget, as you can see, there it is, the index.html. Okay, so don't forget to save your CSS inside the CSS folder. Okay, so we will name this one design.css. And also for this one, save, and then we will save this one to JavaScript. Okay, so you can name it function.js, or to make it short, f.js. Okay, so now that we're done with our preparation for our web development, we are now going to link our files inside our HTML. Now for the CSS, we have to link it inside our head tag. Okay, it should be inside here in our head tag. Okay, so just type in link rel, so link control space, and then it will automatically populate the code. Now here in the href, we have to locate the CSS folder. So this is the CSS folder, and then slash, and then design.css, because this was our name. Okay, so making sure that you have the right spelling for your file. Okay, so if this one comes with design with an extra s, design, so you have to put it inside, you have to target that also as what you've been writing it earlier. Okay, so design.css, so design. Now we're done with the design.css. So how about the bootstrap? Okay, so the bootstrap, the order of linking is very important. So it should be the first one should be the bootstrap that main.css, and then followed by bootstrap. Oops, I made a very vicious mistake. Okay, so this should be in CSS because we saved that, we pasted our file inside the CSS folder. Okay, so don't forget about that, or else your CSS won't work, and then you're probably missing your code. Okay, CSS bootstrap slash main.css. Alright, so we are pretty much done with the CSS. Now how are we going to link the JavaScript? So inside the body tag of your HTML, try to save the very last space before the end tag of your body, and then try to comment scripting, so that you'll know that in this area, this will be the link of your script being done. Right, so inside this scripting comment, I would like to type in script, control space, and then it will automatically populate the code again, and then just put some space, and then type src for the source. So this will pretty much the same with the href for the CSS and source for the JavaScript. Okay, so just like the CSS, I have to type in the location of my JavaScript. So in my case, I have put it inside the JavaScript, and then what was that? Jquery. So again, the ordering of the linking is very important. So it should be it should look like this. Okay, the order should look like this. So it should the jQuery should be the first, and then followed by the jQuery. Followed by the Bootstrap. That means the JS, and then followed by your own function, your own JavaScript, which was f.js. Okay, so which was f.js. Now we're done. Let's try first if our function or our f.js is really working. Okay, so for example, whenever for the first time that your web will load, it will alert hello. Okay, let's try this one. Save, make it sure that there is no let's say for example like this. If you have changes to your file, your work, there will be a round like symbol here at the top. So that means your file is not being saved yet, so you have to save it from time to time, okay, to take the effect. Okay, now let's try this one. Okay, so my web, and then index.html, it should alert. Okay, so this it works. Okay, so our JavaScript works. So